Hey, deal makers, welcome to the show where it's all about financial freedom with real estate. Do you know how to get your money right? Like, do you really know how money works? And I'm not talking about budgeting or saving or any of that stuff. I mean, you know all that. I mean, do you know how to make like scalable passive income through your real estate to the point where you can live off of it? And most people don't. They think that they have to put in more time to make more money. That's a job, right? Or any kind of activity, even if they're paid by the hour. And even if you're making $100 an hour, $500, you're still trading time for money. Or they're trying to save their way to retirement, which is very not likely. Or they think they're going to do better by buying rentals or flipping houses. And none of these things actually lead to financial freedom. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my 10 money rules that let me quit my job and scale to $300 million through apartments. Let's do this. All right, let's start with money rule number one. Retirement is stupid, okay? So just the idea that I want to sit on my butt when I'm old and gray and not do anything is ludicrous. And I know this because I did it once for 90 days. Back in the software days, if you were there for 5 years, they would have a paid sabbatical. This was in the heyday of the internet craze, and I was part of a software company. And so I had a paid 90 days off after 5 years of service, which was wild. And of course, I traveled, my favorite things to do. And it was super cool until about the third week. And I started feeling my brain slow down. Like I was sleeping 10 hours a day. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so relaxed now. Maybe I always need to sleep 10 hours. And then it scared me, right? I was like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing all these cool things, but my mind is not productive. And so this is where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted financial freedom so I can do nothing, but that was like awful. Just the idea of not doing anything productive, like is dumb. Like most humans are wired to be productive. Yes, for a period of time, you're going to sit on the beach or play a lot of golf. But is that really the meaning of life? Is that really a meaning? Is that living a life of purpose? One where you're on your deathbed, you look back in your life and you don't have any regrets, right? So live life to the fullest. Right? You want to do something productive, something that makes the world a better place, something that lights you up. It doesn't have to generate money, but something that's productive and productive in the world. So just working for retirement is really dumb. And the other idea that's dumb is related to this is actually thinking that retirement is when you were 65 years old. So cool, 65 years old, you have a bunch of money, but your health is now down the tubes. You can't actually do the things you really want to do. So just the simple idea of going to 65 years old and then retiring, just that entire concept, this makes no sense. So it shouldn't be a really good money goal for your life goal. Number two is you can't save your way to financial freedom. Now, most people do. They're like, oh, I'm going to max out my 401k. I'm going to save this much. I'm going to put it in here. But you know, if you actually study it, the probability of you actually having enough money in place by the time you retire at 65, which again is stupid, is very low, right? So financial advisors talk about the 4% rule, meaning that of your equities and savings, you can liquidate up to 4% and never run out of capital or principal, right? Now, if you do the math, if you want $100,000 of income, this is, by the way, pre-tax, you need $2.5 million. How are you doing towards that saving plan of building up $2.5 million of equity in the stock market? Like ever map it out how long it would take for you to get to $2.5 million, right? The average American, by the time they retire at 65, they have $175,000 in savings and equities. 175. Now they have some money in their house, probably a couple 300, but it's not nearly enough to retire off. And this is why people who are turned 65 are still working longer, because you can't save your way to financial freedom. Very difficult. And plus you got to wait till you're 65. So this is really not a good strategy as well. Now, some people are really smart and they're like, okay, I'm going to invest in real estate. Now that's already better. That's already better. But here's the thing is you're actually not going to be able to retire off single family houses. And just simple math. Now, let's talk about flipping, right? Most people can handle one flip at a time, take 6 months. You make, depending on a flip, $25,000, $50,000 per flip. All right, cool. So I can do 2 a year, 100K. Fantastic. If I'm making 100K, maybe that's enough to cover my bills, but it's also not very passive because if you're not buying, fixing and flipping and selling houses, you're not making money. So is this really a good passive income vehicle? No, it's not. And how do you then scale it? Very difficult. Even if you do a rental, right? A rental portfolio, that sounds better on the surface, but your rental, if you can make your rental cash flow $200 per month, right? Which is a big if, because that assumes that you have no major repairs and your tenant doesn't move out. Okay, so that $200, that's $2,400 a year. First of all, it's not a lot of money. $200 a month, you need a lot more to retire on. So you'd have to build a gigantic rental portfolio. And it's not very scalable because now you got to manage the whole thing. I mean, think about it. If you want $10,000 per month in income, you would need $200. You need 50 houses. Have you thought about that? Like how many rentals you would need, how long it would take to build that up, and what it would cost to actually for you to manage that, right? So it's a better retirement plan, but it's not, and you can probably, retire in 10, 15 years if you do this. So it's better than the 30-year retirement plan, but it's still not optimal. Right, so forget single family houses. It's really not going to get there. It's going to take too long, and it takes too much. It takes too much time. Number 4 is really focus on cash flow, not as much in net worth, because you can't really live off of net worth, especially if it's in real estate, because you'd have to sell it. So really focus on the cash flow. Now, cash flow comes from there's 3 places, especially when you're talking about the multifamily world. If you're talking about single family house, the only cash flow that comes from a rental is the income, and when you sell. Okay, so there's not really cash flow, very little cash flow. Now, flips don't really have cash flow per se. What they do have is chunks of cash every time you sell and you get $25,000 or $50,000. It's not cash flow, but it's cash. So it's actually a little bit better, right? But really focus on the cash flow now with a syndication. With apartments, for example, you actually get paid at closing when you buy through acquisition fee. It's a huge chunk of money. In fact, it's so meaningful, it's 3% of the purchase price. So let's say you manage to buy a $4 million building, and you have a capital raiser partner and a deal finder together. You and a partner, you buy this $4 million building. That's a $120,000 acquisition fee that you're now able to split with your partner, right? And so that's why so many people, when they get into this business, are able to quit their job, because now you get $60,000. Let's say your burn rate, your living expenses are $10,000. You got a 6-month runway. And let's say you get another $60,000 saved up. That gives you the courage to quit your job and focus on this full time. And now you're buying far more than $4 million in real estate in the second year. And so you have a lot of cash coming from that building. You also have, of course, cash flow coming from the building because it's cash flowing, but you also have asset management fees, which is paid to you for managing the manager of that property. So you have all these sources of income coming from a syndication that you don't have a single family house. So really focus on the cash flow. And this is really what makes syndication such a powerful vehicle, not just for financial freedom and quitting because of the cash that's coming in, but also you're building net worth on the back end as well. Number 5 is stop trading time for money, right? Robert Kiyosaki talks about this. This is really why you want passive income, because when you stop working, the money stops. It just occurred to me when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I was making 6 figures as a software product manager, but it occurred to me, my gosh, if I stop working, I stopped earning money. I wasn't making hardly any passive income off of my stocks and bonds, right? And so really think about that. If you want to stop working, you're going to stop getting paid. Well, that's not acceptable, right? So figure out how to figure out where you can stop trading time for money. The only way to do it is through passive income. Number 6 is to build a vision bigger than just money, okay? Because money is just a vehicle. Like if you have a goal of $10,000 in passive income, it's a very weak why, right? Because to get $10,000 in income, you're gonna have to do a bunch of stuff. Whether you're flipping or your rentals or you're getting a multifamily, you have to do a bunch of stuff. It's gonna take a bunch of time. You're gonna have to take up a bunch of risk. And you're gonna have some not so good days. You're gonna be discouraged. You're gonna have some setbacks and challenges. And now you're like, man, I lost money on that flip. That sucked. You know what? I'm just gonna go back to doing what I was doing, because that I didn't really want it that badly anyway. And so the way you address that is to develop a strong why, which also is kind of abstract. The way I do it is really start to visualize what financial freedom looks like for you. And the best way to do that is how should we do it? So the perfect day exercise. So think about your perfect day. If money were no object, where would you be? With whom would you be? What would you be doing? And what does it make you feel like, right? And when you do that perfect, and this is maybe something that doesn't exist for you right now, but if you could, that would give you insight into what financial freedom would look like. And in that day, for me, for example, yes, it's going to be on the beach, for example. I'm going to be with my family or friends. And yes, I'm going to have some downtime. There's got to be happy hour at 5 o'clock. We're going to go to a nice restaurant. But I'm also going to do some productive, like I said earlier, like not doing anything all day long, every day for the rest of my life, like it's awful. So I want to be productive. I want to do something that's productive and worthwhile. What does that look like for you? Write it down. That is the homework for you from this training here, is to build a vision, get clear into what financial freedom really means to you. Number 7, related to that, is get your rat race number. It's very important, number 1, that you visualize what financial freedom looks like, because that's really what's going to drive you. It's going to set the emotional connection to financial freedom, but also there's a matter of practicality, because financial freedom is also a number. Okay, so what is that number that if you had coming in, like imagine you're in your bank account, you have multiple deposits coming in, and you add all those deposits together and it covers your living expense. What is that number for you? Now, there's different forms of the rat race number, okay? The what I'm not talking about is $100,000 per month, and now you're buying boats and vacation homes and planes. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. What is the minimal number that if you had coming in, you would quit your job, right? And so that number may not include some of the nicer stuff that you enjoy now, like vacations or whatever things, or buying fancy stuff that you're doing right now. It's the the number that covers your basic living expenses, utilities, and things of that nature, that if you knew you had coming in, you would quit your job. What is that number? Write that number down, because that's your goal. And by the way, the lower you can get that number, the faster you can get to financial freedom, right? If your rat race number is $1,000, my gosh, you can buy a trailer and drive it out to Mexico and park it on the beach, and your expenses will be $1,000 a month. You'd be financially free like that, right? So the lower you get that number, the faster you can get there as well. Number 8 money rule is use other people's money. Oh my gosh, please use other people's money. So many investors, especially people who are unfamiliar with syndications, which I'm trying to change, they look at it from a single family house investing standpoint. And normally in a single family house investing, you're saving your money and you're doing a better job. You're not putting a stock market. Good for you. You're buying rental property. You're trying to buy one a year, and you're saving, you're saving, you're saving. Or better yet, you get a HELOC against your house. The problem with all that is you're trying to use your own resources, or their lack thereof, to do a bunch of stuff, which again is stupid. You got to find other people's money. Learn how to raise money. And the thing is, like, for example, people come into our program, within 30 days, they're raising money. It's actually not that hard to learn. And the other good news is that you don't even need to raise all of it yourself. You can partner with people that have access to capital, right? So if you're a natural capital raiser, you're a relationship person, then you're going to naturally gravitate to talking to other people, and you're going to talk to people about raising money. The deal finder, on the other hand, is going to resist the idea of talking to investors because they don't really like that, but they gravitate more to analyzing deals and getting deal flow. Well, those people almost always come together. In fact, we put them together in our environment. We actually we have a named list, and we say, okay, you need to talk to these 10 people and network with each other, because you two need each other. So for the natural capital raiser, from a personality perspective, all they need to know is the mechanics of learning how to raise capital, and they're off to the races, right? If you're a deal finder, yes, you should learn how to raise money yourself, but you don't have to learn to raise it all yourself. You're going to partner with a capital raiser who's naturally raising capital. But for goodness sakes, use other people's money when you're getting into real estate. Number 9, pay yourself first. There's a book called Profit First, and it really talks about, like, every entrepreneur on the planet Earth always pays himself last. You gotta count all your expenses, then you gotta pay all your employees, and then if there's anything left over, you get that yourself, right? You got to reverse it. So definitely pay this. This is a big financial thing that I didn't know until I read this book, and it made so much sense. Pay yourself first. In fact, what Profit First teaches is that you have multiple accounts. So when you have money coming in, okay, and you can even do this even if you don't have a business, or you have income coming in, W-2 income coming in, put it in your account first. This is what you get. That is your thing, right? And then you pay your expenses, and then you pay your employees and do whatever you have to, but pay yourself first. And by the way, if you can't, then you got to reduce your expenses. Okay, you got to free up money. You are the number one person, so always pay yourself first in anything that you do. And number 10 money rule is make the first deal happen fast. The first deal changes everything. It's your launch pad to financial freedom, right? Do whatever it takes to do that first deal, because I talk about the law of the first deal a lot, and it is so important. That first deal is probably the smallest you've done, the worst deal. It doesn't even matter how much money the first deal makes. If it makes no money at all, I had one guy who gave up like 90% of the GP to someone who would help him close it. It was an experience. I didn't even invest any money, and he had like 10% of the GP, and this guy had 90%. And I was like, well, that was a little generous. He goes, yeah, but he helped me close that deal. Right? It was his way, I guess, to get into mentorship. He just paid for it with equity, and it didn't bother him at all, because now he's got a first deal, he's got a track record. And as you now know, when you close your first deal, the law of the first deal is triggered, and you become a deal magnet. You become a money magnet. And so this is why getting your first deal done is so, so important. So those are my 10 money rules. And if you want to learn more about syndications, apartments, and you're kind of new to that, check out Apartments 101. Link should be somewhere in here. It gives you kind of introduction on how to do syndications, how to analyze deals, generate deal flow, how to raise capital, because multifamily syndication is literally the number one wealth builder that checks off all these boxes. So stop following the old school money rules, saving yourself, buying single family house rules, using your own money, start getting into this world of syndications. So in fact, if you go to thefreedompodcast.com, there's actually Apartments 101 is on that page. You can check it out. Also, if you do want to explore working with us and helping get your first deal done and scale your syndication business, there's also a way for you can book a call on thefreedompodcast.com. So make sure you follow these rules, throw away everything that you thought worked in how you save money and how you invest in real estate, and get into scaling your real estate. Check out Apartments 101, and let's take that next step to financial freedom.